Hi guys, today's video will be the 1 month meta report showing you the current standings of the current state of meta. I know it's slightly a few days late, but the idea is to just give you guys a better understanding of roughly how is it like right now. So yeah, I've been busy, that's why this video is just slightly a few days late. Okay, I will do the same. So I will just go through the top 5 most played class, followed by the top 5 most played skills, and then I'll just give a short conclusion on what I feel or my take on the current state of the meta. So for this video, right, I will be doing it slightly differently. There will still be a summary of the top 5, but I will utilize more of POE Ninja website to showcase the various skills used by the various class and what items they are more commonly using, because doing the slides just one by one is very time consuming. The top 5 most played class, the first, second, and third place has no changes. So first is still Necromancer, second is Gladiator, and third is Raider. So the changes will be the 4th and 5th place, which is Ascendant and Hierophant. They have actually switched their positions. And yeah, from the current report percentage statistics, you can see that there is actually quite a big difference between the previous 2 weeks ago statistic and the current one for Ascendant. So it has actually increased by about 4%, and Hierophant has just dropped a little bit. Okay, we will now look at the top 3 most played skills by Necromancer. So first is still definitely Ray Spectre. Ray Spectre is just very popular. Mainly they are using Syndicate Operatives, and there are actually 2 variations for this. There are still quite a large amount of people that are using the Trice Grip, which is the cold conversion Syndicate Operatives. But other than that, there is another different build, which is the aura stacking Syndicate Operatives. So it is actually quite interesting, where they use Victario's influence and the bow to just deal damage. There's a lot of aura stacking involved, also the Vivin stack and Mask of Tribuna. Okay, so this build is really very extremely expensive, and yeah, it is not really for the casual players, I would say. And next up, we have the Summon Skeleton. So Summon Skeletons is second on the most skill played for Necromancer. It is very widely used. This Dead Reckoning is actually very widely used. So most of them are just playing Skeleton Mages, because Skeleton Mages has just very awesome clear speed. Okay, with either Pierce or Chain. It has very fast clear speed, but it is lacking in boss damage. So according to some of the video reviews, I have realized that it doesn't kill the boss as fast as the other minion builds, but it has very good clear speed. Okay, so yeah, most of them are using Dead Reckoning, and the other more common one I will say is actually Alberon's Warpath, because it gives +1 to maximum number of skeletons, which in turn improves your overall DPS, whether it's bossing, clear speed, or whatsoever. Okay, and third on the Necromancer list for the most skilled plays, we actually have Carrion Golem. So actually Zombie is out of the picture. Carrion Golem has actually taken over the 3rd spot, and according to what I see, right, there are actually 3 variants to the Carrion Golem builds. So one is the cold conversion, where they still use the Triad Grip. They go for the 100% minion cold conversion, and the other one is just a pure physical build Carrion Golem. Okay, the other one is just a pure physical build Carrion Golem. And the last one is actually the aura stacking Carrion Golem, and there's a lot of variations with the aura stacking. There can be aspect of the spider, aspect of the avian, where they use the Sakawal's nest. Okay, you can see probably roughly over here. This is how the build roughly look like. It's quite standardized. They use Sakawal's Nest, Alpha's Howl, Doriani's Delusion, and 1 or 2 Core Iron Point. And if you don't want to use 2 Core Iron Point, you can just use this I don't know how to pronounce this. Okay, this shield looking thing, this spirit shield looking thing. Yeah. So yeah, I'm actually quite surprised to see Karen Golem, even though I think it was actually not so popular this league. Maybe cause it's just too expensive for league start, and now it's actually very cheap. So players are just trying out new stuff to see how it goes. Okay, and for our second most played class, it will be Gladiator. I think Gladiator is just one skill involved, which is Spectral Shield Throw. The others are just it just feels very meme, so I'm just not gonna go through it. Okay, so Spectral Shield Throw, it is very very popular now. Generally, I just feel that this particular skill and class is just very easy to play. It's a very all-rounder kind of build. You have good defense, good offense, a decent amount of life, and you don't have to worry about mana. I think that's one thing that most players is the most interested in. Yes, you don't have to use mana, because the skill will be utilizing life tap, and life tap will mean there are actually you actually use your life instead of mana. Okay, so I'm gonna try and find one that has life tap here. So apparently they are actually changing to the some of the top DPS are actually changing to the elemental type. But for what I see from streamers and viewers, it's actually still a lot of bleeding builds out there. Okay, yeah, there's still a lot of bleeding builds. Let me just try and find one. I have no idea. Okay, so it seems like most of the top DPS Gladiator is all changing to the elemental type. Okay, where they use like the awakened elemental damage, inspiration, and stuff like that. But the one common thing is that everybody still uses Lion Eye Vision. This body armor is just too good for Spectral Shield Throw because it has the level 15 pierce, and as long as you hit the enemy with Spectral Shield Throw, it will actually like kind of self chain or self burst into the other enemies that are around it. So I would say actually this build is very good for map clear. But for bossing wise, I don't think it is that strong unless it is the bleeding version. Okay, so if it's the bleeding version, it has lots and lots of damage. I don't think it exactly shows here, but yeah, definitely there is a lot more damage if you are going for the bleeding version against bosses. But if you are not going for the bleeding version, then it probably has better map clear speed but lesser bossing damage. Okay, so for the third most played class, it will be Raider, and we are back to Spectral Shield Throw again. I think this skill is just extremely popular now. It's just very good. It scales very well in a lot of classes. Okay, so same like the the Gladiator, a lot of them also still utilize the Lion's Eye Vision. Okay, because the level 15 pierce on the Spectral Shield Throw is just too delicious. It helps you in your map clear very 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 fast. Okay, however, there is no bleeding build for Raider from what I see previously. Same like the previous Gladiator, they are all just mostly go with the elemental damage, with the inspiration support, mostly cold damage, I would say. Yeah, and the damage is just very high on the Raider because the Raider Ascendancy has one of the most important things, which is the avoid elemental ailments. I think everybody should definitely go for that, and then in your skill tree, you probably will aim for 100% avoid elemental ailments. Okay, and with the combination of the frenzy charges on Raider, I think this skill is just way on top of everything. Okay, there's just a lot of damage stacking with the frenzy charges. You just go really fast. And clear very fast of everything. I think in terms of bossing damage, Raider probably has more elemental bossing damage as compared to Gladiator. So probably Gladiator will take a longer time, but definitely Gladiator is more tanky than Raider. Yep, that's for sure. Okay, and the second skill most used is still Toxic Rain. Okay, so Toxic Rain is still quite popular in some way because it is just very easy to scale, but I think it's falling off quite a bit already because once Toxic Rain you have actually reached the damage cap ceiling. I don't know, I think somewhere around 5M-ish or something like that, you are going to have a lot of problem trying to min-max this build because Toxic Rain is actually very expensive to maximize the damage output. Like you will need very perfect gears and stuff like that, okay, to maximize all the essential stuff for poison or chaos damage, sorry. Yeah, okay, so Toxic Rain is still one of the top contenders for Raider, and the third one is Lightning Strike. Okay, so Lightning Strike is still quite popular because the damage has increased quite drastically from this current patch, and with the Nightblade support, which I think most of them are using, yeah, here. With the inclusion of the Nightblade support, Lightning Strike is just insane, okay? There is just so much benefit to Nightblade. With Nightblade support, like you have additional critical strike chance, you have elusive, and you have a base critical strike chance while you have elusive, and on top of that, you still have increased effect of elusive, okay? And not only that, the fourth perk of it is that you also have a critical strike multiplier when you have elusive. So most of the time, this elusive perks will be full uptime, and yeah, it's just too beneficial for just one single skill. It is like a combination of elusive plus increased critical strike damage support gem plus increased critical strike chance support gem. It's like all in one. This is just too good, and I think this is the reason why Lightning Strike is just so strong at this point of time. Okay, like with the inclusion of the usual multi-strike support and inspiration and all the lightning modifiers and stuff like that, this build is just way on top in terms of damage. It has very good map clear speed, I will say decent, but the bossing damage is just quite ridiculous if you can sustain well enough or you can burst him down fast enough, okay? Yeah, it's just too good, but the only downside is this is a melee build, so it is dangerous for some of the builds out there, and I will say it's actually quite a glass cannon, even though it has a lot of evasion and dodge chance. In some aspects of the damage input is still quite dangerous. Okay, and for now list, we have the Ascendant. So Ascendant, like I mentioned, has actually made its way to 4th place, and the most common skills used is Spark. And by seeing this Spark, I can actually sort of immediately tell that all of these are actually aura stackers. Like after all the streamers saying that aura stackers are very very strong, they are too broken, they are stuff like that, I think, I don't know, there's a sudden surge or hype for people to play it. Like once you go in, yeah, you can see this build. I've just taken an example. Nebulis, definitely aura stacker. Okay, that is for sure. There is a lot of aura stacking over here. You can see that this is just, they are just spamming the voices for all the medium cluster jewels to get all the auras. You just want to maximize the maximum aura and make the build very very tanky, plus it has very very high survivability, just in short, okay? And the damage output from this build is just ridiculously good as well, but the only downside is this build is goddamn expensive. So if you do not have too much currency, you do not have a lot of currency, just please do not try out this build. It is very very expensive, okay? To min max this, I think it is nearly like a mirror or so, I assume it's around a mirror or so. So yeah, okay, the second most played skill is Eye of Winter. firstly, I want to say honestly, I am not sure why this is this is popular for Ascendant. And okay, I am seeing aura stacking again. So as long as there's Nebulis, it is definitely aura stacking. Yep, aura stacking. All the jewels are actually aura stacking. So this is just one of the example. I'm going to see the next person, and I'm assuming is okay. So this is not aura stacking. Okay, so there's actually a number of build variants I see, and this is just the top few DPS that I'm actually looking at, and I'm pretty sure the DPS here is not exactly accurate. Okay, it is definitely exactly not accurate, but I'm actually seeing that most of the builds are aura stacking. Okay, so this is a mana. This is a mind over matter build, which is quite interesting. I thought they were actually dead. It's usually using the Indigon and the Cloak of Defiance, just abusing all the mana mechanics like the previous league. Okay, so Eye of Winter is the second most played skill, and the third one is Cyclone. I'm assuming this is the... Okay, so this is actually... there's actually a mixed variant of this. There is the normal physical Cyclone. Yeah, that's actually the normal physical Cyclone. It's very interesting for to use Ascendant for Cyclone. And there's actually the Ice Spear variant again, which is your cast on crit. Yep, so this is the cast on crit Ice Spear. Yeah, when you thought it was dead, it is actually not. So this is the old version of the build. I am not sure why this person is not using Indigon. Maybe he have his reasons, but yeah, this is the Mind Over Matter cast on crit build that was very popular last league as well. Okay, I'm just gonna see another one. Okay, so there's no Mind Over Matter, but most of them are just using the cast on crit mechanics. And yeah, I'm not sure what is wrong with the DPS. I'm pretty sure it's not very low. It's probably more than that. Okay, maybe I'll just refresh again and check. Okay, so I'm not sure what's wrong with the DPS, but I'm pretty sure it isn't supposed to be that low. Okay, so yeah, that's all for Ascendant. So the top 3 is just Spark, Eye of Winter, and Cyclone. Okay, and for our 5th place, the Hierophant, I think this is also just a no-brainer. It's just very one skill focus, which is Forbidden Rite. And this is definitely the self-curse Hierophant. I'm just gonna click anyone. Nice EXP grandpa. So yeah, this is the self-curse Forbidden Rite Hierophant, where they utilize the totem. It's very nice because the totem actually take the damage from the Forbidden Rite instead of you taking it, and with the self curse you get a lot of damage multiplier on it. Okay, so because of Soul Mentor, you inflict a random hex on yourself when your totems die with 80% more effect. And on top of that, this unique armor actually has the supported skill gem of level 20 spell totem, which means you can actually have just the maximum damage output you can get from the Forbidden Rite. Okay, so I'm not sure why this guy doesn't have Forbidden Rite here. I'm just going to find another one. Okay, this is not a good reference either. Okay, so I see that a lot of them actually uses Forbidden Rite on their replica Forbidden Shackle, which has the additional supported skill gems onto it. But yeah, this is how the build roughly looks like. They are all self-curse totem builds that utilize the Forbidden Rite. And what I can say from video reviews is that Forbidden Rite has very, very insane bossing damage. Okay, it just melts the boss very, very fast. But in terms of map clear speed, it is not exactly very nice, not very smooth. I have to disagree with some of the streamers when they mention that Forbidden Rite is actually a very fast map clear speed, but honestly, I have tried it a little bit myself, and it is not smooth at all. It's not smooth at all. It doesn't clear very fast because the projectiles actually target just one particular spot that the monsters are in. There is not a lot of AoE, and just summoning the totem takes time, and shooting out the projectiles takes time. So yeah, not the best clear speed out there, but probably one of the best bosses out there right now. Okay, next we have the top 5 most played skills. So first is Spectral Shield Throw. I think this is no doubt one of the most anticipated skill after ever since all the streamers have been talking about it. It just scales very well now in various builds. It's just a very good all-rounder in terms of every aspect. So definitely no doubt this is still very popular. And the second one is still Ray Spectra. Syndicate Operatives is just at the top of their peak right now. There is really, honestly, there's no better minion that has good clear speed and good bossing damage. Okay, so Syndicate Operatives has just very good damage in terms of both of this aspect. And the third one is Forbidden Rite. Like I mentioned, the Hierophant is still actually quite popular. People are trying out the Self Curse. I think Self Curse has not been very popular for quite some time. So here it is with all the damage nerfs to the support skill gems. Forbidden Rite Self Curse is just very popular now. Okay, and for the fourth place, this is very interesting. Cyclone is back on the list again this league, but it wasn't as popular as the first 2 weeks, probably because of mana consumption constraint. Damage doesn't scale very well also, and there's a lot of nerfs to it. Plus, the end game Cyclone is actually very expensive. So yeah, Cyclone is back on 4th. And 5th, we have Toxic Rain. So Toxic Rain is still among one of the more popular builds because I think generally it's just very easy to progress through your atlas and your logbooks here and there. It has very good damage over time mechanics. You don't really have to buy a lot of expensive items to get a very decent damage from Toxic Rain. And the nice thing about Toxic Rain is that you can slowly kite all of the enemies one by one. You don't really have to walk into the pack and shoot them, and that's just what makes it very beginner friendly, I would guess. Okay, so yeah, you can see the current report percentage statistics. There isn't really much of a difference, just that Caustic Arrow has just disappeared and Cyclone has taken over even on Toxic Rain. So yeah, like I mentioned, the Spectral Shield Throw, Ray Spectra, and Forbidden Rite are still very popular. And like hello Cyclone again. Toxic Rain is continuing to decrease in popularity. Who knows, maybe 1 month later Toxic Rain might not even be on the top 5 list. Okay, so these are the top 5 class played by the top 5 skill mentioned earlier. So Spectral Shield Throw, the 2 class generally that's being played is Gladiator and Raider. The others are probably just memes. They don't really scale well. And second, we have Ray Spectra. I think this one has no question asked also. It's definitely the Necromancer. There's no way you'll probably play Elementalist. I don't even know why there are people playing Elementalist. Like, if there are Guardian builds out there that are trying to use Ray Spectra, maybe some Aura stacking type, I can still understand. But I have no idea why is Elementalist even 0.8%. Okay, so whatever. Forbidden Rite is also very focused on Hierophant. There is really no other better builds out there for totems. Like Hierophant just dominates it all. Some of them are just trying hard with Occultist. And Cyclone. So Cyclone is back on the list again this league, 1 month into the league. So we have Occultist at 28%. Why Occultist? Is because most of them are playing cards on Crit Ice Spear. So I'll just give you guys a brief showcase on how insane the damage still is for Occultist cards on Crit. As you can see here, everybody in the top DPS for Occultist is just Cyclone Ice Spear. Okay, this is just the old play style of Cast on Crit. It's still utilizing Cosprey and then Chevron's wrapping with the Prism Guardian for the additional gems or auras that you can socket. And this is definitely going low life, and yeah, the build is just insane again. Okay, I think with the recent changes to the mana, they are able to sustain the mana now, and yeah, it's just working ridiculously well right now. The damage is just very insane. You can see that most of them are just hitting more than 50 million, and all of them are just Cyclone Ice Spear, Cast on Crit Ice Spear. Okay, so the remaining 16% for Slayer is just usually the physical build for Cyclone. I think it's still easy and fun to play for a lot of beginners. Yeah, it's just a very user-friendly beginner type of Cyclone. And then the Assassin is also using Cast on Crit, but most Assassin will be going for Ice Nova instead of Ice Spear. I think they just want to go fast on map clear. So if you can see over here, if I were to press Assassin, most of them are just Ice Nova. Okay, so I'm not sure about the damage, but I don't think the damage is so low again. But we can see that with the Headhunter, right, we can see that this person is probably one of the top few that are playing this build, and definitely the clear speed is very fast. So I think this build is actually very well versed for logbooks as well, because after every detonation you can just clear and go, and you don't have to worry. But probably the only thing that you need to worry in logbooks for this build is just the modifiers that you cannot freeze the mobs, or you just cannot deal any cold damage or elemental damage. So that's the downside of it. Okay, so the rest is just the usual. Ascendant is probably the Mind Over Matter, Cyclone, Ice Spear, and then Gladiator is the physical build ones. And the fifth, we have Toxic Rain. So Toxic Rain is definitely Raider. Some of them are just going for the Pathfinder because I think they just want to sustain their flash charges full uptime, even including boss fights. But I will say Raider actually scales a lot better with Toxic Rain because of the ailments and the onslaughts and stuff like that. Okay, so this is my conclusion on the current state of the meta. So, like I mentioned, this currently of POE is definitely dying off very fast. I've seen a lot of streamers already starting to play other games like Valorant, CS, or even some other games. I think some of them are already trying out Diablo 2 Resurrected. If you guys didn't know, the beta is actually already out. So a lot of them are actually starting to try out Diablo 2 instead of continuing to play this at the current time. And this is actually quite bad for GGG if you ask me, because it has not even been 1 month into the league when I started seeing all the other streamers. I wouldn't say all the other streamers, but a lot of streamers actually start to play other games. Okay? And yeah, like the previous meta report, right, the current meta is very concentrated into one particular class and one particular skill. I give you, for example, Gladiator, Spectral, Shield Throw. There is no contest with this class or whatsoever. It is just Gladiator, definitely. And Necromancer is definitely Raise Spectral, and yeah, stuff like that. Okay, and next is, who says Cast on Crit is dead? The community, the players are making it work now. Occultist Cast on Crit Ice Spear is rising once again, like I've shown you previously. And yeah, like I mentioned, probably with the recent slight changes to mana, they are able to sustain it. I see most of them actually has about 300 mana or so, and the estimated cost for each proc on each hit for your Cast on Crit is about 250 to 300 mana. I think roughly around there. So yeah, actually I love COC a lot. Maybe I should join back the COC club. I don't know. If I have time, I probably will. Okay, so the next thing is whether the extremely popular Summon Reaper at the league start is dead. Everybody was hyping about this Summon Reaper at the start, cause it just looks cool. It just looks very badass. You know, it looks like Summon Reaper will like take over the game, but it was actually quite a big disappointment at the start of the league. Everybody was trying so hard with the Summon Reaper, but it's just not there. Okay, it dies so fast. It's your minion. You cannot really progress well with the build. There's a lot of problems here and there, and yeah, it just doesn't really scale very well at the start of the league. But after their recent changes, I think honestly, right, it has actually a lot of potential. Okay, because I'm not sure if any of you guys know, but the Reaper's skills is bleeding based on minion damage. There was actually one video somebody posted about a Summon Reaper build guide, and when I actually saw the POE and I do some research on it, I realized that the minion damage scales with the bleeding on Summon Reaper. Okay, so like let's say if you have example, if you have 400% minion damage, your bleeding on the Summon Reaper actually is like 400% damage more. Okay, so that's why I think it's actually very strong. But there are just not a lot of people out there that are testing it. And also like me, I've yet to try because I'm really very busy with work and all the other stuffs. But I'll definitely try this league. I'll definitely try to find some time to fit in. Once I finish my high budget version of my aura stacking this build, I will definitely try it. Okay. So the next thing is, if you want to try out other builds previously that you have not played, like I don't know, probably some meme blade vortex or something like that. Any other skills that you that is not meta that you really want to try out, I feel this league is definitely the league for you to try out, because all the specific unique items that are for that particular build is very, very cheap. It is definitely very cheap. I've actually tried to search some of them, like some of the elemental bowls or something, some other similar stuff is really very cheap. Okay, those unique jewels and stuff like that. So yeah, do try it, because I don't think if there's any if 3.16 is going to be a better version, better league, probably it will go back to the usual price. But just for now, the league is like sort of dead, and yeah, all these items are very cheap because there are just too much supply, but there are too little demands on the market. Okay, so the last thing I want to mention is that with all the podcasts and sessions with the GGG discussion, Chris Wilson and stuff like that, I think all of us are hopefully trying to pray that 3.16 will be much better and more fun. I don't know, whatever changes they're going to do, we just hope that it is much more comfortable for all the players. So like, yeah, I don't want to be detonating again next league with all the logbook stuff, because it is honestly very time consuming, but the logbooks are just very, very profitable, like in every aspect. I don't think there is any way you can lose out from a logbook unless you lose out all 6 portals and then you die without looting anything. I think that's the only way that you can lose out from your logbook. Otherwise, there's no way you can actually deficit from a logbook. Okay, like unless you're running artifacts that are not Black Scythe and Grandson, it's just too good. The currency exchange rate is just too good for logbooks. Okay, that comes to the end of my meta report for 1 month into the league. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like I mentioned, this is just a summary of the current state of meta. If you would like to see some gameplay footage or video for those skills or classes, you can always just Google or search for them in YouTube, okay? And also, currently I will not be doing a 2 months meta report, probably because the meta is just so stagnant and I doubt there will be any major changes moving forward. So I don't really see a point in doing a 2 months meta report. And unless there is a very big significant change in meta, like suddenly GGG decided to buff Blade Vortex, I don't know, okay, just an example. Yeah, so if there's any significant change, then I will do the 2 months meta report. Okay, otherwise guys, just achieve your POE goals for this league. then take a break, or just be a casual player like me and go turtle slow, like very very slow, so that you won't get bored easily. And yeah, a side note is, if you're really too bored with the current meta of the game, I suggest maybe you can do some gambling with Gwen and meme with her. Who knows, you might get a headhunter and just show it off to your friends or the community and stuff like that. Okay, so yeah, once again, thank you for watching. Do remember to hit the like and subscribe button, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.